Hello. I won't be able to do this for all of the questions you have on Takaki, but this is a really nice question I saw um, from Miss Bordbari, um, which I think gets to attention. Here's the question. From my understanding of the reading, Takaki says that virtue was the American ethos of the time, yet at the same time, men were motivated by wealth to raise their social status. Am I missing something? So, what she's saying is, Takaki seems to be saying people want virtue, which is the absence of luxury, but at the same time, they want money, which would seem to imply luxury. So, that's not a misreading, it's not a misunderstanding of Takaki. Both of these things go together. They go together like this. If you go back to the lecture on rationality, I should have been talking about signs of grace. Just in case I didn't, I'll say a little bit now. With the early Northern European Protestants and some of the early groups that came here was the idea that there was very limited seating in heaven. You no longer could go through the Catholic Church hierarchy to feel like you were going to heaven. And the king was no help. And the question is, how do you know whether or not you are going to heaven? And what they believed is that there would be certain signs. And this comes up all the time. I mean, if you're in your relationship, how many relationships substitute sex as a way to demonstrate that you love somebody? So that you need an outward sign. It might just be hand holding, but whatever it is, how do you know somebody feels a certain way about you? You need a sign, something that you can see, feel, something real. So, for those early Protestants, the idea was that those who were going to heaven showed no signs of illness. They show no drunkenness, no addictions, although I don't know if they would have used the words addiction, no laziness. And then on the other side, more productive or more important for this question, is that they would be productive. Whatever work they took on would bear great fruit. So if they planted a farm, there would be great crops that would come from it. And then they would sell those crops and they would get money. The money was for them a sign of their grace. So it was a sign that they were going to heaven. Now, money is also a temptation. For many of you, if you won the lottery today, how many of you would be listening to the online class next week? Well, let's say it a different way. If I won $42 million tonight in the lottery, I might continue teaching, but I might not. When you get paid at work, how does that change your weekend? Do you do anything differently? Isn't that the nice party weekend? Isn't that the fun weekend? Don't you eat better that weekend? Money's a temptation, but money's not luxury. Money's a temptation. You spend money on luxuries. So the job for them was to earn money, but spend none of it, to buy themselves nothing. What they did over a period of time is they took all the money out of Europe. They just drained Europe because they sold them and sold them and sold them. But they wouldn't spend their money. They just sat on those little piles as evidence that they were going to heaven. It was all still about virtue. Money was the empirical sign of the grace of God. And as long as you didn't spend it, then you wouldn't fall into hell. It gets even better. The fact that you have the money and don't spend it is a sign that you can deal with temptation. An even stronger sign that you are destined to go to heaven. Money and virtue, a Protestant ethic and capitalism work together, function dynamically. They support each other. And so they're not a contradiction. Money is the empirical sign of virtue. Okay, hope that helps.